You're listening to the Money Mike syndicated radio show. We're going to keep you up to date and current in all sports. We'll make sure you're aware of everything in corporate and enterprise business. And most of all, we'll share with you how to make a little more money as we cover the NBA, the NFL, and Major League Baseball. All colleges, and you stay tuned for the Money Mike syndicated radio podcast. Good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? I'm feeling good. All things are possible to those who believe. Going to talk to you a little bit about the HBCU and the business schools. Corporate enterprise business. Went across this and just was happened to be looking at it as I looked at the market this morning. And came up, they have a list of the top HBCU business schools. And, of course, you got Howard University sitting on top. Washington, D.C., Florida, Agricultural Mechanical University, second, Tuskegee, North Carolina A&T, Alcorn, Coppin State, University of Maryland, North Carolina Central, Morgan State, and you got Hampton University and Delaware State. The list goes a little longer, but what Money Mike was trying to focus on was right in here. When I looked at it, HBCU Business Schools by diploma. Again, you looked at it and you say, okay, associate degrees, we have 13 school certificates. We have 7 HBCU schools. But when you get to the bachelor's degrees, you got 81 HBCU schools that offer schools of business. But it kind of drops down after that. When you go to the master's degree, 37 HBCU schools offer a master's degree. And when you get to the PhD, the doctorate degree, 4 HBCU schools. Now, why is this important? When you look at it and you look at the direction of corporate America, you look at the direction where we're going in this society today, the most important education I believe you can have is a business education. And let me tell you why. Because if you don't come together in partnership. Now, here's where the drop-off. I see the 81 schools offer the bachelor's degree. However, only 37. You know, some of those students that are getting their master's degrees, we need to come up with a program that they can go back to some of the schools that don't offer the master's degrees and start some of that intern teaching. Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to business, I mean, you cannot survive in America today without business. And what does Money Mike mean like that? I see the future as you're going to have not employees, but you're going to have a lot of contract workers. And what does that mean as a contract worker as we move into automation? It basically, in corporate America today, you can become a contractor. A lot of us are today or doing it, being project managers. You can also be a contract employee doing HR. Now, what does that do for the corporation? Because you get thousands of layoffs that are happening right now. Fed Chairman Powell says get ready for a bumpy ride, because when you have this as a contract worker, you can go in and do the work, and the corporation doesn't have to carry the labor load. And that's why I feel it's mission critical to get as many students, HBCU students, involved in business. I mean, even if you're on the campus and you're studying business, my advice is open up your business now. You have so much I've learned in social media that it's a wide open market. And anyone, I don't care if you're 20, 30, 60, 70 years old, you have the ability to start a business. And if you take a moment, as I'm doing, and learn the social media, and it is a wild, wild west, but that's the new market. Now you have the ability to market yourself. You have the ability to become a contract worker, and you have ability to go ahead and do government contracts. That's where I'm going. Money Mike is looking at this from a broader scope, because understanding the GOP party, and there's a lot going on there, folks. I'll tell you, there's a lot going on. Because you got Donald Trump, and everybody's looking at Trump. Then you got China, and you got everybody is battling back and forth with China. What's going on? How's this thing going to work out? And you got some heavy hitters that are coming through the door. And when I talk about the heavy hitters, you'll look at Microsoft and is getting involved in what they're going to do. They're going to get involved in the funding. Okay, as we look at the market and the G42 signals growing, because there's a big disconnect right now between the U.S. and China. And it's so bad that China's president says he wants to deal with Donald Trump. Now, this one here, I'm telling you folks, when you get to the GOP and the NVIDIA and the chip makers and everything that's going on out there, you got a situation where there's a big rip. The Fed Chairman Powell says get ready for a bumpy ride. And if you look at the market today, they're finishing up the quarter. And man, oh man, I told you by the time we get through April, May, and June, July, August, September, that's gonna be some turbulence. And that's what I predict. And you know, the market, whenever I see the market's gonna shift over to bonds, this is what you got, folks. When they're gonna shift that market over to bonds, and they're gonna move it out, they're gonna move some of that money out the market, because the market's just about topped off. Okay, now you got the banks who are saying now, well, you know what, we're making so much money on interest rates, we truly believe the economy is just going to sail right through it. Well, it is. Okay, and those you're going to have the haves and the have-nots. And this is where I go back to the HBCUs and the business school, because you got to understand and navigate this system. You got to understand where the market is going. And at the end of the day, folks, one thing I do know about America, I mean, about every 20 years, there's going to be war, okay? And to execute it correctly, when you talk about contracts and being employees and government contracts, I mean, you have an open door, and you can go in there and look at who's servicing the defense stock. Because if Microsoft's putting in $1.5 billion, okay, and this is to my HBCU students, you must understand somebody is contracting within that $1.5 billion. Okay, and that's why the GOP party is telling everybody it's real easy to be a millionaire today, because all you got to do is connect, and you get in there with the right partnership, and man, oh man, you carry your own labor load, you carry your own health, your whole health medicine plan, you handle the health coverage, man, you have a wide open window to do business in America. There's nothing stopping you. Now, if you look at that collectively, because there's a whole lot going on. I mean, this China rift, I'm gonna tell you, this one's big, because you got Apple trying to go around China to Indonesia to do business. And I'm telling you that this is a train wreck waiting to happen. It's got to get settled, because too much money is going out the door. And this one's getting worse and worse, and you got to look at it. I'll bring you to another story that really shocked me. Is Tesla. Okay, you got Elon Musk is trying to get a 2018 salary, okay, of $56 billion. Okay, now the judge in Delaware, boy, the judges in Delaware, that's federal court down there, folks. She's like, this is unfathomable. This is ridiculous. Okay, but he's trying to push it too. Here's the deal, that you got Elon Musk going back to the shareholders again. And this is what he's doing, folks. He's going back over there and he's saying, let's retry this again. Because he wants his $56 billion. Okay, so how's that going to play out? I do not know. But here's where's Tesla stock sitting. It's down 5%, 166.59. Now, while Elon Musk is trying to get his $56 billion, he's got a major layoff going in workers. I mean, he's laying off thousands right now. Okay, so this one here is going to be another train wreck. Because what do you got? He's highly invested in China. And if the U.S. is not invested in China, he's saying, let me get my pay out of here, and then we'll figure out how to get around this situation. But this one here, I have never seen an owner where his pay for 2018, $56 billion. And currently, man, oh man, they're down 2% today. Year to date, Tesla's down 32%, almost 33%. I mean, that one there, you got to put some thinking in that. And, of course, the market's going to be the market. It's not going to change. You got the Dow. You know, they're trying to run through it. You know, they're talking about a bumpier path, but then you got the banks and everybody say we can run through this. And, man, oh, man, when you got the bonds sitting in there and they're pulling the money out of the market, okay, it ain't running nowhere when they're pulling the money out and putting it in the bonds. Okay, that's just the part of the game that we got to deal with. And if you look at the market currently, you know, they're down just a half point, no doubt, nothing major. Okay, the crude oil's coming back down, man. Summertime, NASDAQ, everything's got to get itself back in line. But you got some strong stuff happening out there. And, from an investment standpoint, folks, the only thing I can tell you with this is you just got to expect no landing is what they're saying. Okay, no landing. Okay, what does that mean? No landing where it's supposed to be a bumpy ride. They're saying our economy's going to slide right on through it. Now, here's the deal with that. Everybody can have a forecast and a prediction, okay? And everybody can tell you this is the way it's going to go, okay? But when you have a situation or you have a war, that stops everything, folks. And that puts a shutdown on it. Or you get a state of emergency, it'll shut everything down. And you got a lot of corporate Americans running by a shoestring, but life is what it is, and they're trying to push it through, and it is going to get a little rough. And when it gets a little bumpy, that's just what happens. But you got to keep going. There's no way around it. And when you look at this, it takes me right back to the HBCUs and the business schools. And that's where it's going. Because if you're studying a school of business, you're going to be prepared no matter what job you have. You're going to be prepared if you get laid off. You're going to be prepared to go into the future. And you're going to be able to make a difference. And you can also give back with the master's degree internship for those schools who do not have master's degrees. So the market is there, and you just got to look at it a little bit different, because the HBCUs, the GOP party, if they want to, they got a big space program with Yale and teaching. Man, you need to put the money into the HBCU Business School and make sure each one of these schools has a bachelorette degree. Each one of these schools has a master's degree in business. If you do that, okay, then you're going to go out there and send our youth out there prepared and ready. And the ROI, okay, return on that investment will be astronomical. This is the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. And we're just bringing it to you. We're talking corporate enterprise business, HBCU colleges, schools of business, and what we can do, okay? Because at the end of the day, we have the most talented youth in America, okay, in the HBCUs, okay? I've seen it. I witnessed it. I'm getting a better understanding and the degree programs that they have. But man, oh man, all of these degree programs are going to tie back into business. And if you can get in there and get a business degree and get your school of business running strong, you're going to control your own destiny. Because the university is just the business, okay? And at the end of the day, the business acumen, the blueprint, whether you're running Tesla or you're running Howard, it's not going to be any different. You're going to run through a budget. And man, oh man, you got to know how to execute. And that's what it's all about. So I want to share that with you because all things are possible to those who believe. I believe our Black American youth business is your opportunity that you can go higher and higher and further and further. And like I said, we're going to get higher and higher, and we're going to get better and better because we understand all things are possible to those who believe. And you're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast. This is brought to you by Fanatics. We're just getting it in. So sit back, relax. We got more coming your way. We appreciate you. We love you. And we're going to go work harder and harder so we can get better and better at bringing you the information you need. We'll see you soon. You're listening to the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Show. We're going to keep you up to date and current in all sports. We'll make sure you're aware of everything in corporate and enterprise business. And most of all, we'll share with you how to make a little more money as we cover the NBA, the NFL, and Major League Baseball. All colleges, and you stay tuned for the Money Mike Syndicated Radio Podcast.